Well, greetings, gamers. This is Dr. Eileen, the Gaming Doc, and this is your place and your space to laugh, to chat, to chill, to hang out, to take a moment, to take a break, to take a breath, and say we made it to Thursday. And not just any Thursday, it is Think About It Thursday. Your life will follow your thoughts, so where are your thoughts taking you? And we are back on the laptop. I had to pack. I'm going to be leaving the place that I'm staying at, and the wonderful, amazing Airbnb host is going to be replacing the carpet. So I had to move all my stuff out. So I packed up my big computer. So now we're just going with the laptop. And we've got Iron Eagle, my Eagle of Iron, hashtag Doxagoomer, and who is our gold medalist today. Yes! And so yes, we won't be able to do any of the stuff or look at the Discord or anything like that because I only have my laptop with one screen. And ultimately, first off, at some point, I will be getting a new laptop. And I will also, I want to get one of those things where you have, like, it's a thing you can slide onto the laptop and you open it up, and so you end up getting 3 screens. So that's on my list of things I'm going to treat myself to. And everybody, I hope that this is a good day. Oh, and we need to turn the sound down on the phone. Phone, why are you making noise? Because I did not turn that down. All right. There we go. Okie dokie. So, and we have coming in for our silver medalist, Queen of Mayhem 1, who, Her Majesty in the house, who is one of my moderator supremes, who is absolutely amazing and awesome, who puts the star in Stardew Valley, and who is my daughter-in-law. Yay! So, yes. Lots of things coming up, and Shrek Fork comes in, squeaking in for the bronze medal as one of our first 3 medalists, just like at the Olympics. Take your places on your risers, wrap yourselves in your national flags as we play your national anthems. Hello, started watching JoJo's Bizarre Adventure. Cool. And lots of stuff going on. Okay, so like I said, I'm only working with my laptop right now because I had to pack up my computer because the carpet is being replaced, because originally I was going to be leaving today, but now I'm going to be leaving on Monday because the place I'm moving into I can't get to till Monday. Lots of stuff going on. How are you? I am doing good, my dear. And how are ya? How are my grandkitties? And how is my wonderful Onyx, my, one of the 2 greatest gifts of my life are my sons, and one is the wonderful, the amazing Onyx Chaplin. Please tell him I said ho. Shenanigans. Yes, shenanigans. It is. And we are managing. We are moving forward. A lot of stuff. And Monday is going to be very exciting because I'm scheduled to be able to move in to my new residence, and it's a shared housing situation, but the people seem very, very nice, and I'm looking forward to it. And then I will be starting work, so a lot of stuff going on. So how are you? How is the power slide to the weekend for everybody? And it is the power slide to the weekend. We've made it past Wednesday. We are in the heart of Thursday, and tomorrow is the beginning, well, technically the beginning of the end, because we are coming to the end of September, which means we've got October, November, December. Anything you wanted to get done, you've got 3 more months. Don't give up. We're doing well. Kitties are sleeping. Onyx is hanging out, listening in. Oh, much love and kisses to my wonderful Onyx. And how much it takes me to not say names, but started working. Started watching JoJo's thing. So, anyway, thoughts, thinking. What are you thinking? Where are those thoughts taking you? And as we start heading into, without a doubt, the busiest time of the year. A lot of people are thinking a lot of things. Maybe they're thinking, wow, I don't know if I'm going to have a job by the end of the year. Maybe they're thinking, I don't know how I'm going to manage Christmas. Maybe they're thinking, I need to make a change in my life. Maybe they're thinking, I am sick of winters wherever I am. I need to find a new place that's warmer, which, I'm curious to enjoy my first New York winter. I'm very excited about this. It is a thing, and I'm looking forward to the idea of learning about my first New York winter. Now, when I was living on the mountain, basically living up there, you didn't say how many years you had lived there. You would say, oh, well, I've been up here 4 winters. I've been up here 6 winters. Because until you've had at least 8 winters, you're not really considered a mountain person. Technically I had 9 winters. This would have been my 10th winter up there. But it is. So even the thievery has stopped. I'm still dubious about keeping my food downstairs. Well, we will call it a win as long as you have a break from it. And I'm very glad you're having a break from it. But as long as you can say you're having a break, it's good. Should not be too bad in Staten. I've got onesies and I've got Uggs. And I will probably be getting more Uggs. I love my Uggs. Those of you who don't know what Uggs are, they're those kind of Sherpa, sheep fleece boots that, you pull on and they're kind of suede-y. I love them. I love them ever so dearly. And they were the best in the mountains. If you lived on the mountain, you had Uggs. So, I've even got purple Uggs. They're around here somewhere. But anyway, so when we are, having like a big change coming in, and for some people, 2023 was just one giant change right on top of another. And if that's the case, I'm really sorry. And being able to embrace that, sometimes those changes and those challenges have gifts. And one of the gifts is that we learn just how strong we are, just how tenacious we are, just how determined we are. Another gift is that we learn exactly how many people are there for us, who support us, who encourage us. I think you'll likely freeze worse when you come up here if it's after or during the snow. But we love the snow! Is that like a jug without a handle? Uggs are boots for winter. Let's see. Hold on. Oh, I can show you Uggs. Hold on. Let's see. Where is my Uggs? I have Uggs in here. Okay. So, this is an Ugg. And I have purple Uggs. They are the best. But yeah, it's got like the fuzzy stuff inside, and it's good traction. But yes, Iron Eagle, that's what an Ugg is. There are also Ugg slippers. Yes. But you put those on and they're so freaking warm, and especially if you've got nice warm socks. And we have also coming into the moderator ring, Cyber King 48 with the Wings, who is one of my moderators, Supremes, who is one of my Nameless Family fam, who is my Poutine and Ghost Tour connection in Canada. It's happening. Oh my God, they had this like Indian poutine that was fascinating. Cyber King. It was a different poutine, but it was like this Indian curry type of poutine that had chicken in it. But it had the cheese curds and melted and all of that stuff, so it was very, very interesting. And Cyber King 48, who is also awesome with music and a DJ. Cyber, hi, sweetie. Yes. So, Right now, we are actually under a flood warning. I checked my phone, and because it was beeping, that, I don't think that, where I am, don't worry, I'm fine. But we're supposed to get a bunch of rain tonight. We're supposed to get a bunch of rain tomorrow. And so what we're doing is, it's sort of like, in some ways, the same as when you're on the mountain, or I guess when you're anywhere. When you get a report and, you get like one of those little weather announcements saying, something tricky is going to be going on, you just prepare, because you get advance notice, and you have time to, it's like, okay, well, I know I need batteries, or I know I need this, because one of the things that can happen in a lot of rain is the power goes out. Make sure that all your stuff is charged up, your phones, everything, is charged up to the max, just in case. You make sure that if there's any food you need to get, you go to the store and get it, because you've got time. And there's a lot to be said for having a little bit of warning for things. Now, there's a lot of things in life we get no warning for. And sometimes it's bad stuff, sometimes it's good stuff. And when you have an expectation, when there is the possibility that something, may go awry, you can either sit there and spend your time being upset that something is going to happen. It's like, you see the oncoming train. Well, as long as you've got time to step off the track, you step off the track. You can't just sit there and complain that, oh my gosh, there's a train coming. Oh my gosh, there's a train coming. Get off the freaking track. So when we have an opportunity to prepare ourselves for something that's coming up, maybe it's, maybe you're going to be having family visiting. Maybe you're going to, you've just received notice that you may be a part of a layoff. Maybe you find out that your significant other is expecting a baby. As long as we can get a heads up on things, that allows us to come from an empowered place of saying, all right, I can prepare for this. I can do this. I can manage this. And like I said, there's a lot that doesn't, that we don't get a heads up on. Because that's just life. Oh boy, sad day in the news today, Doc. Michael Gambon, Dumbledore, passed away at 82. Salute, love, and fist bump high five for Dumbledore. Oh no, not Dumbledore. He wasn't the OG Albus Dumbledore. That goes to Richard Harris. Yep. No, but played Dumbledore the longest. Normally I'm asleep by now. Hey, Mountain! But I guess I got used to my new schedule. Yes! Uggs! Uggs are good. But you know what? Much love to Dumbledore. And as somebody who wants to be a part of that world of acting, when you see somebody who really made a part theirs, it's sort of like Ian McKellen playing Gandalf. When somebody owns a part and they make it iconic, and especially if it's kind of an iconic role that someone comes in and takes it to that next level, that they're known for that. And that can be a problem, because then you get typecast. It was sort of like, okay, James Doohan, who played Scotty on the original Star Trek series, his biggest complaint was that he could never get another part, because people said, oh, well, they're going to look at you, all they're going to see is Scotty, and that's not what we want. So there was a lot of work he didn't get, because he was what they called typecasting, which meant that if, when somebody kind of became iconic in a role, nobody could see them outside of that role. And a part of that is really impressive because of the fact that obviously they did that role really well. And while he was not the first Albus, he was the, as I said, he was the longest. Another name of professors gone away: Dumbledore, Snape, and Hagrid. Englishing! 2 out of 3 actors that played Dumbledore passed. Wow. Alan Rickman, a.k.a. Snape, passed after the OG Dumbledore. You shall not pass! Down goes the Balrog. Shadow Karma! Hello, my dear. Hello, my dear. How are you? We are honoring, the Dumbledore, the longest of the Dumbledores, who passed away today. Much love. Alan Rickman was also in the first Die Hard movie. Really? Let me guess. Played a bad guy. And I mean, the truth is, Alan was known for his deep voice. I mean, and when you get like people who have like those definitive voices, James Earl Jones as, the voice of Darth Vader, or, it really is about people who, and the thing is, there are a lot of people who will grieve this amazing actor, and all of, I mean, oh my God, there have been so many actors that have passed this year. That part of the Academy Awards is going to be nuts. It's going to take half of the Academy Awards to talk about all of the amazing actors who passed this year. I mean, it seems like every time I open my Google page, it's like, actor passed away or so-and-so passed away. But the thing is, even if you've never met that person, because their work, touched a lot of lives, and there were a lot of people who, resonated with a particular character. And when an actor plays a character where it becomes that real to you, that's something that becomes a part of you. So, don't ever let anybody tell you that, well, you didn't know them, you shouldn't be grieving. No, because the role that they played was a part of your life, and that's okay. I have not seen you in months. It has been a hot minute. How are you? Well, things are like going crazy sauce. I made it to... I'm in Staten Island, New York. I moved here. I drove across country by myself, ended up in Staten Island. I should be starting work like at the beginning of October, and like within the first 2 weeks of October, I'll start work. And once I get settled and I've gotten a housing situation that has been set up, that I will be in Monday. So a lot of stuff going on. There's been definite ups and downs in my family life and my personal life, but we move forward. But it is crazy. How are you? What is up? What is happening? What's the buzz? Inquiring minds want to know. It's not Exodus till I see Hans Gruber fall from Nakatomi Plaza. First off, Hans Gruber, the name is familiar, from Nakatomi Plaza. I don't know what that is. Tommy Lee Jones as Agent K in Men in Black. I can't see him as anyone else, though he's in many other movies. Oh, yeah. He's just that good. Yep. Tommy Lee Jones. Oh, my gosh. He is like one of the epic actors. He's been doing this since even I was a kid. Tommy Lee Jones has, been in movies playing everything from good guys to bad guys to, to psychopaths to heroes. And it really is. I'm so sorry I couldn't join your streams. I had a whole match month, so throughout the whole month we had matches. Shadow Karma, do not ever, 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 ever apologize for living life, for being out there, because the cool part is eventually you have a chance to come back in and catch us all up on all the excitement that's been going on. Matches all month. Was Tommy Lee Jones in Toy Story. Did he do a voice in Toy Story? Not sure, but somebody Google it. But so matches. So what kind of matches? Like football or rugby or cricket or what is it? What? Oh my God. Curling. That was blanking. I swear he did. Morgan Freeman is another huge name. Usually he's the good guy in the movies, but he can play a bad guy too. Soccer. Yes. Morgan Freeman. Oh my gosh. See, to me, Morgan Freeman will always be one of those iconic actors that I grew up with, and watching him, because I mean, back in the day, he was a young man, and breaking into a field where minorities were usually only servants or or whatever. But yes, and he can play a very scary bad guy. But when I would have to say one of my favorite roles for him was Driving Miss Daisy. If you have never seen Driving Miss Daisy, that was an amazing movie. Yes, and Bruce Almighty, yep, he has played God. And, and Invictus, yep. I mean, he, and the thing is, as good as he was, he never got typecast into a particular role. There was always that opportunity. That is a really good one. Yeah. I mean, see, and that's what I aspire to be. I aspire to be the type of actor that brings a role to life. And, and I'm very honored that the director that I had worked with, he said that he could always tell. I did several plays with him, and most of the time I played the lead role. And he said he could always tell the moment when I switched and I became the character. It wasn't that I was playing the role, I became it. And he said it was always fun watching me, because what I would do is there was usually one prop, and it was usually like either a piece of clothing, maybe it was a pair of glasses. We did Wait Until Dark, which was an old Audrey Hepburn movie where she was blind, and I played Audrey Hepburn, and I love Audrey Hepburn. It was so exciting to play her in a role. But I knew when I took the cane as a blind woman, that was the trigger. I was Ozzie Davis's character in I'm Not Rappaport, very old movie with Walter Matthau. But there was a sweater that he wore, and when I put on that sweater, that was when I got into the role. But for those of you who do enjoy acting, and I recommend that everybody at least try out acting. One, it's a lot of fun, and two, that idea of it kind of builds confidence in being out in the public and public speaking. So that is like really cool. I think Samuel L. Jackson is typecast but with one swear word. Yep. I mean, and when you have him in a lot of different roles, and I mean, Pulp Fiction. Oh my God. And Lawrence Fishburne, he has that kind of similar thing. But, Samuel L. Jackson, oh my gosh, he was in a movie he was in the South, and his daughter was assaulted and killed, and he played the father. And, for the fact that it was a racist, type of thing, and there was racism in it, and, and he just, oh my God, he left it all on the field. We have matches with Everton, Manchester United, and Manchester City, and Fulham. And you will knock the socks off of everybody. Victory! Samuel L. Jackson also voiced Frozone in the Incredibles movie. Yes, he did. I don't remember where I read it, but Samuel L. Jackson. Yeah, I believe that he did. And I guess that's one of the reasons why I resonate very much with him, because I also stuttered. And it is not an easy thing to overcome that. And it can be embarrassing. It can be just demoralizing. And the thing I always hated the most, when I was trying to get something out and people would try to finish my sentence for me, like they were trying to rush it, and I could see in their faces that, they wanted to move on. And the more stressed I got, the worse the stutter became. So it is a difficult thing, and you can work with it, and you can figure out a way to manage it. But yes, I did stutter quite a bit. Honey, where is my super suit? Honey, where is my super suit? I saw this online. Roses are red, violets are blue. I am Groot. Honey, where is my super suit? Cool. It is. Oh my gosh. There are so many amazing actors and people who are a part of that world, and their whole thing is to take something that is imaginary and make it real. And I love that idea. And getting up on a stage and talking to people and being someone else. That's my favorite thing about acting, is figuring how to convincingly be someone that may be totally different from me. And it's fun and it's cool, and if it's something you love, oh my God, it is the best. Why do you want to know? I'm on my bed recovering from, hamstrings. Hamstrings are the worst. Oh my gosh, I am so sorry. Oh, man, you get a hamstring tear, that one ligament, just like, that is the badness. That is a bad day when you muck up a hamstring. I had patients, and it was just about, you tape it, and in most cases, if somebody has a tendency to tear a hamstring, they're not the type of people who will just sit down and stay put and keep their foot elevated. Ryan Reynolds is getting towards icon status in my opinion. Yeah, there's a lot of, because, I grew up at the time when, special effects were not that big a thing, where it really was focused on the acting. And being able to, play these different roles and to play them convincingly. One of the scariest things that I ever saw an actor do was when Robin Williams played a serial killer. And he played that, because almost all of his other roles are very light, they're inspirational. He's the good guy. And seeing him be able to play a serial killer was like, whoa. That was actually intense and almost uncomfortable. Cyber King, behave. No, lol, I can't behave. Ha 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 ha. Ribs are bad too, because doctors can't do jack to fix it. That is 100%. Because what used to be done is that they would be wrapped. So if somebody broke a rib, you would do this really, compressed bandage to hold everything in place, which was fine, except for the fact that they found that would cause people to develop pneumonia. And if you have to cough while you have a broken rib, that's bad. That is tremendously bad. So there's honestly nothing that can be done for a broken rib other than, you can have the person just, it's like a very loose kind of, just a very, very, very slight compression just to stabilize. But the main thing is you have to do these deep breathing exercises all the time. and they want you. They give you the little thing. Anybody ever been in the hospital? You get that little thing where you have to blow, and and you keep the little button in a particular area, but you need to really work your lungs if you've had a broken rib, because otherwise, if the ribs can't expand all the way, fluid will build up, you get pneumonia, and I will tell you, coughing is bad enough when you have pneumonia, but to do it with a broken rib, that takes pain and unpleasantness to a whole new level. I don't know, but I seem to break a lot of my body parts. Well, that, and ultimately that stuff catches up with you when you're my age, okay? Every little thing that you've done to yourself, but at the point you hit 60, it's like, your body decides, oh, we're gonna do a highlight reel. Let's look back at all of those old injuries. Let's see. What movie was that? Law, Behave, Cyber. Do you know what Cyber is? I never knew that. I do and don't. I'm a cuddleable teddy bear. Just don't get too close. I might take all your honey pots. And yet, we'll take you for amazing poutine and Tim Hortons. See, you're cuddly until you've had a triple and you're riding that caffeine high. I would guess you get pretty feisty at that point. Did you know you can dislocate a rib when you sneeze? Or a hip. I'm guessing that means you can dislocate a hip. It depends. It depends on how you can dislocate almost anything. Sneezes are a full body experience. Breathing with a broken rib is so annoying, yeah. But you gotta do it. I've managed to break the same rib twice somehow. Yeah, you need to not do that. Or you can dislocate a rib when you sneeze. I have put many a rib back. I have, there's a chiropractic adjustment that I learned how to do to actually take a displaced rib and return it back to its position. And son of a gun, it hurts like heck. It is not the most comfortable adjustment that I did. In fact, it was probably one of the more uncomfortable ones. And once I got it put back in and people go, oh my God, it stopped hurting. Oh my God, that's been hurting. But yeah, you can well, we would just say pop a rib. You can pop a rib by sneezing. You can pop a rib by coughing. You can pop a rib by lifting. You can pop a rib by rotating. It's like doing some sort of rotation, especially if you're rotating and lifting something. If you've got your upper body in a rotated position and you're reaching over and you're kind of reaching across yourself, yes, you can pop a rib doing that. And I spent 20 years putting them back into place. Let's see. I managed to sneeze hard enough to hurt my shoulder. Yep. I've had people sneeze and it triggers a migraine. How in the world do you look so good though? Like, wow. Shadow. Go on. And it takes good looking to know good looking. I once bruised my throat while sneezing. Yes. You can do that. You can actually damage the inside of your throat by swallowing something that's like, you take a big bite of a sandwich, or, like you bite into like a potato or something, or you get a big piece of meat, which is why you should, one, cut things into small pieces, chew them well. Because, if you swallow something and it was a little bit bigger, then, it's like, and a lot of times people will do it. The weird thing is broccoli, for some reason. I had more patients who said that they took too big of a bite of broccoli. I don't know why broccoli, but they would take a big bite of it and they would swallow it before they had it all chewed up, and you just feel that whole thing going right down. She's only 20. I'm only 20 for the third time. +1. Most of my injuries come from sports. Yep. Don't eat broccoli. Noted. Well, you just gotta chew it. Why the hell is your camera not in full screen? Because I'm using my laptop. This is laptop time. Because I had to put away my big computer, and but I don't know. Is there a way to change it? Oh, okay, then never mind. Yeah, because the my wonderful Airbnb host, he's going to change the carpets. And see, I was going to be leaving tomorrow, but it turns out the place I'm going to isn't going to be ready. They're going to have the room ready on Monday. So I extended my stay here, and and he was very nice to just let me go ahead and extend it for a bit, to just for a small amount. And so I'm going to help him move stuff out of here so they can tear the carpets up and do all that. But yes. Oh, never mind. Please continue. And we have J Stun Z, the one, the only, the amazing J Stun Z, who is the king of New York, the reigning monarch of Staten Island. I will hear no argument to that point. Who is OBJ Stun Zobi when it comes to all things electronics, all things gaming, and all things amazing food. We're going to Nino's. And who is also one of my moderator supremes. Tearing up carpet, from what I've been told, is a lot of hard work. Yes, it is. And and they're putting down laminate. And, it's like, there's the bed, and they can't really get the bed out the door without completely disassembling it. So they're just going to move that back and forth. But yeah, I mean, and this house is like over 100 years old. So, it's got some beautiful, amazing features to it. And at the same time, you have to kind of be aware of, a lot, because you don't want to damage things like walls and stuff like that. But they're going to put laminate on. Bye, Jason Z. Englishing! Booey. So, yes. No, then was planned. Who knows what you could find in the walls or the floors. That is true. Supposedly, there was a rumor that in this house there was a treasure actually buried somewhere or hidden somewhere. He said that he's been here a very long time and he's never found it. Who knows what yep. So, hey, as long as we don't start doing the Edgar Allan Poe Telltale Heart thing, I'm cool. But, it really is, because in California, okay, one thing we do not get in California are basements. Why? Because you have a lot of earthquakes in California. My favorite thing about coming to this end of the country is there are basements, which is so cool. I love basements. Telltale Heart thing? Oh, yes. All right. Edgar Allan Poe, who is a tremendously amazing and very scary writer, wrote a story. I mean, all of his stories, he never wrote a single story or poem or anything that came out well. Nothing he wrote was happy. And there was a story about the Telltale Heart, and it was about this guy who ends up, he kills somebody and he seals them inside the wall, and he puts up bricks, and he, puts wallpaper and all of that stuff. And it's like, you hear, and then he started hearing this boom, 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 boom. And people are there, like investigating the disappearance. And you hear this boom, 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 boom. So he's hearing it and he's thinking, oh my gosh, the person wasn't dead. Their heart is beating. And so, all of his stories end up going very, very badly. But amazing, amazing writer. Look up Edgar Allan Poe. You can look up the Telltale Heart. It's like Murder in the Rue Morgue. It's just like he had some amazing, amazing poetry and stories that were all tremendously creepy. I had to read The Telltale Heart in high school. Yes. Didn't he have alcoholism and was poor? A lot of folks. When you think of Amadeus Mozart, who, was famous. He was the toast of the entirety of Europe. He was, his music, and he was, what, 6 when he wrote his first symphony? He was a child prodigy. He could, it was just amazing. And he was, celebrated by kings and queens and the nobility. And he died penniless. Because, which is, and the thing is, it's still happening today. People who get big and famous, and they're on top of the world, and they seem to be richer than anybody could believe, but they live as if that money's going to last forever. That's why they have, it's called, at least I know in California, it's the lottery winner's curse. And the idea that big winners, and I mean like multi-million up to billion-dollar lottery wins, within a certain number of years, the person's flat broke. And it's like, wait a minute. You win hundreds of millions of dollars, and within years, you spend it all? So that's like, the curse of, he was 9. Ding, ding. Thank you for the correction. It's like that idea that people live these lavish lifestyles and they don't act as if that money's going to be gone one day. And yes, Mozart lived a very lavish lifestyle, absolutely at the top of fame. And he did make a fortune, but he spent it faster than he made it. And ultimately, he passed penniless, absolutely broke, in the most basic of graves. And yet, he has been immortalized in classical music. MC Hammer, yep. MC Hammer, who lived in Fremont, California, that was right next to the town I lived in Milpitas. And you could drive into Fremont, and we all knew this one road you go down, and there were these huge gates, and it said like MH, and it was, but and it's like Vanilla Ice, who's now selling bicycles. And you see people who were famous. Maybe they were on TV series, or maybe they were in a movie. And next thing you know, they're working at Starbucks, or they're doing something very mundane. Now, in some cases, they choose that because the acting became overwhelming. It was too much. And oh my gosh, there was an actor who, I'm trying to remember, it was a child actor, and he grew up, and he reached the point where it was like, I'm not doing this anymore. This is horrible. The new phrase would be toxic. It was tremendously toxic. And he just gave it up, even though he was a star. That answer was courtesy of Onyx. Mwah. My son is so smart. He is so smart. Brilliant, even. Vanilla Ice, I saw a post online. He's an electrician of some kind. Yeah. For a while, he was selling bicycles. And it is, and I would guess when, you've stood in front of stadiums filled with people screaming your name, and had people just following you around, and everybody's just going crazy. And all of a sudden, that goes away, because eventually, if and when I make it big in acting, I sure as heck I'm not going to go and run and buy myself a Manhattan penthouse or anything like that. I'm going to assume that at some point that money is going to be gone and may not come back in. Because no matter how rich or amazing or famous you are, at some point somebody's going to come in who's going to be a little bit more famous, who's going to be the new kid and the new star. And that's when the older stars start to, they don't get quite so many things. And see, that's where you make sure that you do not get that big bad reputation, because as soon as, it's like, oh, well, I'm famous, I can treat people like crap. No. Because everybody you pass on the way up will be the same people who are glaring at you on your way down. And as long as, you be that type of person who is good to work with. I mean, that's my goal, is that, as I move into acting, I want to be known as that person who's very polite, who is very professional, who listens to directors, who doesn't make a problem, who shows up on time. All of these things are really important, because once you start getting a little too full of yourself, and I mean, we see it on Twitch, we see it on, on TV, we see it on TikTok, where people, they get what they believe is, this level of fame, and start getting a little too full of themselves. So it's like, sadly, financial literacy is not something most regular people are taught to get to learn. Well, and lurking side duck, hello. But, it is, common sense is not common. And for most people who suddenly find themselves, because that's the difference between, the phrase we used to use was new money and old money. And the mindset, old money were like the Rockefellers and, the Kennedys and, and it's like the old style movie stars, that multi-generational money, the DuPonts. And when you have like that multi-generational old money, they know how to deal with it. They, they stay very low key. They don't go out in the flashy stuff. They go out dressed to the nines and, for the charity dinners and all that stuff. But you don't see them, acting a fool out there just spending money like crazy. New money, that is the lottery winners. That's the person who suddenly gets famous for something and they make a whole lot of money. It's like, now I can have anything I want. But the problem is, ultimately, it catches up, who want to, you hear about these TikTok kids who are, and most of the time they're teenagers. They're renting like a mansion, and, so they can do their TikToks in a mansion. But then when it comes down to, you got to pay bills. There was a documentary on a group, and it's like one of those hype houses. And it turned out inside, it was like, the laundry, they didn't even have like laundry being done. In most cases, there were just mattresses on the floor. They weren't, living like crazy. They lived like a group of teenagers who were left without an adult. And they just kind of, there was like trash around because nobody had the sense to go out, and then they'd end up getting kicked out because nobody was paying the rent. But yes, if this business I'm a part of gets big, I know what I'm buying. What you buying? Then these regular people get rich, are famous, and blow through their cash. Yep. When you can win $100 million, and they said it's almost an average of 5 to 7 years after somebody wins, over $100 million, that money's gone. They go through it, they spend, because they think there's no way that I could spend this much money. Oh, yes, you can. Let's see. Where if I did get a penthouse, Doc be like, tisk, tisk. You know what? No. Iron Eagle, if you got a penthouse and that's what made you happy, I would say fist bump, high five, enjoy it. Be smart about it, but enjoy it. It's not like, I wouldn't love to be up on the top floor of something looking down on all of Manhattan and, lounging and all of that stuff. But I can do that in a hotel. Michael Jordan was and is the GOAT, greatest of all time. See, I remember that. basketball to most people, but he's a complete jerk. Really, I've never met the man, but I've heard rumors that he didn't tip waiters at all. Yeah, I mean, and once you reach a level of fame, a lot of stories get told about you. So, I remember back when Michael Jordan decided he wanted to leave baseball or basketball and wanted to be a baseball player. You know, I mean, this was okay. The original Space Jam was kind of making fun of that because it was before somebody see when Space Jam came out, the original Space Jam. But he decided he was going to give up basketball and he was going to play baseball because it was what he wanted to do. And, you know, from what my experience was of him back then, now, I mean, maybe he's changed now. I know that early on he was actually really cool. But years and years and years, and like I said, you know, it's like, you know, when the Air Jordans came out and all of that, when Michael Jordan was on the cover of everything, I would imagine it gets really difficult when you're used to being the star and suddenly there are new stars. There's new star basketball players. You know, you may be like, you know, an amazing sports legend, and then at some point there's going to be someone new who is just a little bit faster or just a little bit stronger. And I think that it is important to have kind of a bearing on that. I mean, hey, first off, would love to win a lottery. Second, you know, I will work really hard to build up that abundance and, you know, maybe even become famous. I got no problem with being rich and famous. I feel I deserve that. And I know, and maybe because I'm as old as I am, and I remember what it was like growing up, you know, when a lot of people were poor. So the idea that at my age, you're dang right, I'm getting somebody to manage money. I'm going to make sure I've got somebody to manage the money and to take care of all of the details. It's like, you know what, as long as, you know, give me a piece of plastic that I can go and spend what I need to spend on and let the bookkeepers handle the rest. In high school, I had an economics class, but that was 5 or so years ago, yes. And economics has changed so much because money, the management of money, and how it's viewed, it was like, okay, as an example, there was a time when I was growing up, you know, when dinosaurs roamed the earth, fire was coming right along, and the wheel was almost totally round, and I was a child. The best investment you could make is a house. And, you know, when you graduated high school, because you probably got married right after high school, but when you graduated high school, the first thing you did, you know, you worked like heck so you could afford a home. Because that was, no, that's the best investment. Well, that changed. The concept of a home being a best investment, that got totally turned around because of the real estate market that was overinflating the prices because you can never truly control the value of your home. You can sink money into it. You can do everything. The value of your home is going to be based on what the market will bear. And I remember when, you know, houses, even little dinky houses, were going for, you know, my parents paid $22,500 for their house, you know, our house. Then, you know, at, you know, longer than that, way longer than that. You know, when I was an adult and my parents had passed, the house was valued at $875,000. And this was only for like 1,300 square feet on an average size yard. Then the artificial inflation of the house values that bubble burst, and it went within 30 days. The house went from being valued at $875,000 to $320,000. So you can't really control what the value of a home is because the environment is what determines it. And so in a lot of cases, and also because buying a home means, you're paying out of pocket for repairs, so you have to put money into repairs. You have to have it insured. In many cases, you're paying a homeowner's policy. And while, yes, you can get part of a deduction for owning a home, it's nowhere near what you're going to spend. So the idea that you could sink millions into a house, and if the market crashes, the millions you spent mean nothing. Yes, I'm in my mid-30s and only now starting to teach myself about investing and whatnot, and my parents have zero financial literacy. Exactly. And, because it's something that you really have to keep up with. It's something that changes as technology changes, as, the housing market changes, as the work environment, the levels of the employment rates change, the economy is going to shift. And, I was raised by people who grew up in the Depression. And when you have elders who grew up in probably one of the most difficult times financially that this nation has ever known, for a big crash to happen all of a sudden, and nobody knew when it was going to end. So when the Depression hit, the people who grew up during that time became very, very financially, it's like, no, a penny saved is a penny earned, and you don't spend anything. You put everything into savings. So yeah, the mentality around it. And then all of a sudden we hit the Silicon Valley, the boom of the Silicon Valley, where half the people you knew were millionaires on paper because of stock options. And then that crashed. I have seen so many times that stuff has changed financially in this country. And basically it's like you throw the money in a savings account, you leave it there. Some new money has the smarts of the old money. It's rare, but it is a thing. Usually if new money ends up having the wisdom of old money, it's because somebody with old money gave them advice. It's really tough. A new house for my mom and dad. That would be cool. And fire an outer, hey! Not gonna lie, I'd buy some land and build a house for $500K. You can do it. If you don't know for a fact, then you shouldn't believe what you hear. There is an old saying, believe only half of what you see and none of what you hear. He was a terrible baseball player. Yes, he was. But he loved it. Queen saying hi to Mr. Zoomies. And fame does odd things to people. It can. Hey, lady Zoomers. Michael Jordan still on the cover of some things. He was on the cover of 2 NBA 2K video games that I know of. Yeah. And that's like, the big thing now is like, oh, well, you make it onto a video game. But just in general, back in the day when Michael Jordan when he first hit, the NBA scene, it was just like he was such a novelty. He was something that was different. He was considered like the heir to, Wilt Chamberlain and, Google, or Wilt Chamberlain? Yeah, Wilt Chamberlain. And, it is, when you look at, the golden age of certain sports and, those who became like the legends in it. But ultimately, even the legends had their records beat. Ultimately, someone else was a little bit faster or a little bit more famous. And fame does not mean wealth automatically. Rich and famous, combination. We're in that scenario at the moment in Canada. Lots of people are losing hundreds of dollars on homes they bought a year ago at very inflated costs. Yeah. Hundreds of thousands. Yeah, that's what I figured. Snoring Bush! Good to see you again, Doc. How are you? I am doing good. We're streaming on a laptop again. But yeah, it's like Polish Onu. Hey, gorgeous, long time no see. I can only pop in for a second. I have guests around. I hope everyone's reading this has an amazing day / night. May you be having an amazing day and night. May you be walking gently in the world, and may the world be walking gently with you. And it's so sweet of you to stop in and say hi. Hi, Polish. Dang it, automated. Hope you're doing okay. I am Wilt the Stilt. Yes, the only man to score 100 points in basketball. I believe that was broken. I believe that record was broken. I am doing awesome. It is a very kind of busy time, and I was going to be leaving my Airbnb tomorrow, but I'm going to be staying till Monday because the place I'm going isn't going to be ready till Monday. So, yes, it's cool. And, yeah, don't think it was broken. Kobe Bryant came close. He hit 81. Yep. Wilt Chamberlain. Actually saw him play once. I actually saw him play once. It was just, and the thing that I thought about was that when you get one person who's like really famous on a team, and it's like the rest of the team, it's like, what are we? Chopped liver? What are we? Backup singers? Somebody had to throw him the ball so he could make that amazing dunk. So, but it's like, Shaquille O'Neal and all that. After my divorce, I met this lady from Switzerland who played piano for me all the time. You wouldn't believe who I ran into today. Seriously, this time asked her out. Snoring Bush, seriously. I'm telling you, there's no such thing as coincidence. Fist bump, high five for you. And you asked her out. Proud of you, so proud of you. And, and sometimes we do get additional opportunities for certain things. And when we do, it's important to take full advantage of an opportunity. Because, opportunity, well, they say opportunity never strikes twice. Sometimes it does. But it's important to be able to recognize whether or not, no, that was a good thing to let go at that time, or you've got another shot at maybe having a moment. And the thing is, if an opportunity comes back, my theory is that it's because the time before wasn't the right time. You needed to grow. You needed to evolve. And, and there are times when, it's like, oh, wow, that ship has sailed. And then all of a sudden something will come up that's even better. Maybe it's a work situation. Maybe it's meeting somebody. Maybe it's, it's a competition or something. We never know when opportunity will strike twice. So we need to have our minds set to being able to recognize it and take full advantage of it. I don't know why, but a lot of the big men in the NBA can't shoot free throws very well. Shaq is why the backboard is plastic now. Yep, Shaq attack. And, there was, oh my gosh, who was the other, the big tall white guy, played back with Wilt Chamberlain, famous basketball players from the 60s. Okay, let's see. Wilt Chamberlain, Bill Russell, that's who it was. Bill Russell. Yes. Bill Russell was amazing. And of course, we had Dennis Rodman, we had Scottie Pippen. There were a lot of folks who were, Larry Bird. Yes, Larry Bird. That is actually who I was thinking about. Larry Bird was around the 80s, I think. Yeah, but yeah, and then, you look at whatever your sports thing is, back in the day of, Joe Namath and, and Riggins And, you remember, like, Jose Canseco in baseball. And, Scottie Pippen hates Michael Jordan to this day. Really? I've never heard that. Why? I don't know. Once again, the internet lies. Just keep that in mind. The internet lies. And don't go to Wikipedia, because people make that stuff up. But, and again, it goes back to that saying, believe only half of what you see and none of what you hear. And it is. It's very easy, because I've known, having grown up in that era, and someone will say, it's like, oh, well, back in the day, and this person was doing this person was doing that. It's like, I was there. I remember what happened. I saw it. So, and sometimes it rings true, and sometimes it doesn't. For being less of a team player, I guess, I heard it in the documentary called The Last Dance, I think. Yeah. And, I thought the Last Dance documentary had to do with disco. Disco was amazing. Oh my God, disco was the best. I mean, and also thinking about, like music artists, singers, music groups. I mean, back in the day, Metallica, like back in the 70s, Metallica, Rush, Electric Light Orchestra, Boston, Sly and the Family Stones, and then you had like the Beatles, and you had the Osmonds, and you had, the early Jacksons before Michael Jackson kind of split off onto his own. So when you think about all of the, like the musical groups and the musical artists, and it's weird because there always seems to be this kind of, evolution where, they start off, the Monkees, and yes, the Monkees were a real group. I do not want to hear anything about that. The Beach Boys, so you would have these groups, and, Blue Oyster Cult. Pretty much any group that was in the soundtrack of the original heavy metal. Awesome animated movie. But, they go through this thing where they're really popular, and then they start, it's like, well, we want to branch out. We want to do something different. We want to make a statement with our music. And then they start fighting with each other. And then the next thing you know, they start breaking up. Some groups, The Who, they, lasted like beyond. Even though there was stuff they did. Genesis was an amazing group that where people, the members actually ended up going and developing their own careers, but they still would come back and, do those, reunion type of things. Phil Collins. Oh my God, Phil Collins was so amazing. But the idea, Rush is one of, Rush. Geddy Lee. Oh my goodness, Geddy Lee was, I had such a crush on Geddy Lee. Oh, you can choose a spirit guide in some celestial voice. If you choose not to decide, you still have made a choice. You can choose from phantom fears and kindness that can kill. I will choose the path that's clear. I will choose free will. Oh my God, Tom Sawyer. Geddy was amazing. Next to maple syrup. That is true. The band Kansas, nowadays most known for Carry On My Wayward Son. Oh, yep. Kansas. Jethro Tull. I mean, we're talking The Doors. And it was like across many genres. Alabama. In the country western, and it is... and the thing is like, these bands would come out, or these singers, Boy George, what is that, George Michael, Elton John. Oh, Elton John, Captain Fantastic and the Brown Dirt Cowboy. Fist bump, high five for anybody who remembers that album. So it really is about, people who become icons. I mean, when you go that step above famous, That point when you can no longer go out in public. I mean, just imagine that you were to reach a point of fame, doing whatever it is, just picture yourself, whether it's being a streamer, whether it's being a musician, whether it's being, whatever. Picture that you've done something that has made you famous. And it's to the point where you literally cannot go outside. You cannot walk around. You can't just go to the store or go to a movie because people will crowd around you. And I would imagine that will mess with your head after a while. I was at TwitchCon and I was coming out of, one of the talks, and I thought I heard like some sounds. And I come around a corner and almost run smack into, she's a streamer, she does YouTube, and I think she also does Twitch, Tina Kitten, who was, the one hanging out with like Sykkuno and Valkyrae and Corpse Husband and all of them. And I mean, she was like, and she is so tiny. Oh my God, she's so tiny. And as she's going along, there's this like wave of people just like following her, and you could see she's trying to stay like so many steps ahead, and people are like calling her name, and she's like moving forward, and I saw in her face there was this fear, like if she tripped or didn't keep up the pace, and there was like a security guy who was next to her. And they're just like boom, 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 boom. And, so our eyes met for like a split second. And I'm like, oh, excuse me. And she goes, sorry. And she just kept going. But it was like, wow. To not be able to just walk around. And yeah, if you reach that point, that's one of the prices you pay. You pay the price of your life being an open book, which I've always thought, and you guys can give your opinion on this. Do you believe that if somebody is like sufficiently famous or a big star or whatever, do you think they still have a right to privacy? Or do they give that up as a part of their fame? And, and it really is, a difficult thing, because, and also, you do anything, you are going to be, you're going to get either canceled for something, or you're going to get famous for something. People are going to create stories about you that you have no control over. And, and you become, it's easy because there's also people who resent people who have fame, who, really make it big. They get resented. And that means that people will look for anything that they can find that can be a negative thing about them. That would be a very, very difficult life, I think. Elton John collaborated with a new pop artist. I don't remember when, but it's a decent song. And Sting, oh my God, Sting from The Police. And then he went off and did his own, Sting did his own thing. But yeah, he may have collaborated with Elton John once. That's why bodyguards are a thing. Fame is a double-edged sword, exactly. I'm a bit drained, still trying to fix sleep schedule. It's really tough, and it's like super hard. I'm struggling to think. It's okay, sweetie. It's all right. Just kind of, allow the thoughts to just sort of flow by. Breathe. And you're doing great. You're doing great, sweetie. I'm proud of you. Paparazzi. Oh, yeah. I mean, because there is that thing where, and a lot of people feel that if you're famous and you're making your money being famous, you don't have a right to privacy. Everybody gets to know, everything about you, which, I mean, it's like, no, you don't. And that's where that whole parasocial thing happens, where people believe it's like, oh, well, I'm a big fan of this person and therefore they know me. I'm their friend. And And that, I think, it is very creepy. It's creepy that people follow celebrities around or interrupt them in public to take pictures and whatnot. I think that every person has a right to privacy, even if they're famous. I agree, absolutely. When I met Keanu, I was like, excuse me, would you mind if I took a picture with you, Mr. Reeves? He was really nice about it. Yeah. You know, anyone in chat want to be banned? I feel like banning someone. Oh, Jay is pulling out the pizza cutter, the banning pizza cutter. He's looking for someone to start a fight. Once you're famous, you tend to get a lot of fake friends. That is true, because there are people who want to, want to be there, want to be in your circle, in your field, because then they can say, oh, well, I know this person, and they like to name drop. It's like, and people who name drop, it's like, okay, big deal, you know them, but their fame is not yours. And, let me check if there are bots. Well, Jay, just hang out, because when we do kick, I'm sure you will have a chance to ban people there. And I think, and that's why I think, like, for child actors who grow up in that world, oh, Jay found somebody to ban. Very proud of you. So, it's like children who grow up in that world, and I think there's a certain balance, because these kids are not allowed to be kids. They're actors, they're professionals, even from a very young age. They're expected to be professionals. So they don't get a chance to be children. And I think that can be a really hard thing to do, because it is, your whole world is based in this fantasy where people will use you, people will talk bad about you, people will try to get close to you and then, stab you in the back, or they get close to you just so they can find something that they can sell to the press. See, that's the thing. At my age, at the point I get famous, which I do intend to be famous at some point, it's like, I'm old. By 9 o'clock, I want a glass of warm milk and to go to bed. So it is, it's like, okay. But, being able to, oh, you found a bunch of bots. Child actors get it worse, lots of pressure. Yeah, I'm okay. Goodbye again. Goodbye. Look what happened to Macaulay Culkin. Yeah. Well, and, there was an old series called The Partridge Family. And that was like, it was supposed to be this musical group of this family that formed a musical group, and the actors that were in it. And there was a lot of stuff that, was really, the Brady Bunch had all kinds of stuff going on behind it. I think that's why it's really important, I believe, that, when especially younger people who all of a sudden get this huge amount of fame, and it really starts messing with their heads, it messes with their thoughts. Suddenly they're not sure who they can trust. And that, when you're going through the change of suddenly being very, very closed off, and there's, when you think about a lot of the streamers, a lot of them started off, doing their YouTube videos, and, they're in their little place and they're doing their own editing, and then all of a sudden they get famous. All of a sudden they've got tens of millions of people who are following them. All of a sudden they're on the stage at VidCon or TwitchCon. Oh my, okay, the TwitchCon I went to, that was the one where Dream had just done his face reveal. He was going to be like, one of the speakers. And his event, there were lines out and around. People were getting ready to riot because there was only so much room in the room. I think the room could only hold like 400 people. And there had to have been at least 800 people lined up to go and see him and see his face. And it was crazy. I mean, folks were just losing their doggone minds, because when the room was full, and people had been waiting in that line for hours. And, not everybody was happy. And the thing is, what happened after Dream did a face reveal? People started dogging him. People started saying, it's like, oh, well, he shouldn't have shown his face. He's kind of ugly. He's this, he's that. And it's like, what do you folks want? So the idea that when you live as if you're in a fish tank, as if you're in an exhibit at a zoo, if you're in a glass bowl and everybody gets to walk by and, look at you, I would imagine that that's something that a lot of people who have that, Jacksepticeye has had a fan-made game. Yeah, there's been like 1, 2, 3, 4. Not to mention the countless, Happy Wheels. People made games, and and I do. First off, Sean has the tea is amazing. Top of the morning tea. The coffee's good, but the tea is absolutely amazing. And those who know his background, he started off by himself in a cabin in the woods. See, we have that in common. Fist bump, high five. We both lived in cabins in the woods. And the thing is that he went literally from being in complete solitude to being in front of thousands of people on a stage. And I would imagine that was a very difficult transition, when all of a sudden you go from isolation to adoration and people stalking you and all kinds of stuff. And he's been very open about his depression and the fact that he ended up having a lot of health issues, and he was very brave about sharing that. He also did a comedy tour. Yeah, he did I think he did like 3. He's done like 3 or 4 world tours. The most recent one was the comedy tour. And he's had walk-ons in movies. He's he does a lot of voice acting. But yeah, he's done like 4 world tours. He did a tour here in the US. He did 2 tours through Europe. He was in I think he was in Russia. He performed. So but the thing is that and he was very young. I mean, honestly, he was in his early 20s. And when you think about some of these folks who get that instant fame, well, it wasn't instant. He worked very hard for a very long time to reach the point that he reached. But once it started like a snowball down the hill, and when you think of like Markiplier and PewDiePie and just a lot of folks who do streaming, who end up hitting that very difficult point when maybe the fame overwhelms them. If you're beep beep in the background, it's somebody's car alarm is going off. But and consider how you would respond. Consider what it is that would be important to you. What would help your headspace? Finding your own eye of the storm when everything is just a storm of attention, and having people give you that much attention. I think it must be really, really crazy. And you reach that point where, it just can overwhelm you. And like I said, I do think that I could probably deal pretty well with it because of how old I am, because I have lived a lot of life, and it is that, there is that kind of settling that comes in, because it's not about, like I said, if I were to become, when I become rich and famous. It'll probably be mostly about, doing nice things for my family, being able to do that. I've spent a lot of time alone. So if I were to ever reach that level of fame where it's like, okay, going out or going to the store or doing whatever, going to a movie is just not going to happen. I mean, I'm okay with hanging out someplace by myself. So, and again, being older, I've done a lot of outside living. So being able to find balance with that, I think, is something that I will figure that I will be able to manage it reasonably well. And I don't attach anything to it. I'm at the point where it's like, you know what? I've got more years behind me than ahead of me, so I'm just going to have fun with whatever time I do have left. And I understand that the money is not going to last. The fame is not going to last. Make hay while the sun shines. Because my thought process is going to be, okay, I need to make sure that I diversify, that I create other avenues of income. I don't put all my eggs in one basket. And, once I would have the resources, it's like, okay, how do I have my money make more money by itself? Called passive income. Amazing thing. I think Happy Wheels is what really got him noticed. Not entirely sure. Happy Wheels was a big thing. It was a big series for him. And, there was the PewDiePie shout out. But, there was a lot of things. The fact that he was, very much into like the horror games and things like that. Renews the gift offered by is continuing the gift sub. Why are you... What is it you have to continue the gift sub? The gift sub should have been the gift sub. What? Did something muck with the gift sub? I don't know. I'm a mix of an introvert and an extrovert. I have no problems with being alone. Yeah. And being able to find that balance point and not get wrapped up in, because there's the aspect of being the physically alone, but then there's also that aspect of, I added time to the sub. Oh, thank you, Queen. That is so sweet of you. Thank you, sweetheart. So the idea that, it really does come down to our thoughts. It comes down to our ability to not attach to what it is, whether our circumstance is great or our circumstance is horrible, and to not attach to either one. You can be lonely but not alone. Yep. And you can be alone but not lonely. So, it's like, oh, Queen, Nerdy Nurse Ginger, oh, that's so sweet of you. Oh, and you have Queen of Mayhem has gifted 2 subs to the channel. Thank you, sweetheart. Oh, you didn't have to do that. Thank you, hon. So, figuring out what it is that can kind of pull you in different directions, and where do you find your peace? And I had somebody who said, it's like, oh my God, Doc, you need to go and like hang out with some of these people and just talk to them so they can get better. It's like, the thing is, many of them are in therapy, they're seeking help, they're managing things. I think that they're doing really, really well, and I'm very proud of all of them. And I'd be happy to listen. Somebody once said that I should be sent to like the hype houses full of the young adults just to, calm them down. But it can be, because that thing of criticism, people end up facing a lot of criticism because, and in a lot of cases, it's because folks get jealous. And I really admire those who still continue to show up and who do their best to do what they do and to keep doing it, even in the face of, a lot of pressure. And when people experience a lot of pressure, it can be really, really difficult to be able to be there and be on. And what I mean by that is that, when you hit, record, or when you hit start stream, And it's like, hey, here we are here, da 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 da, we're doing all the thing. It's great. I mean, I do it kind of myself. It's like, greetings, gamers. This is Dr. Eileen, the gaming doc, and this is your place and your space and all of that. But then again, that's me. That is because, when we start the stream, I am feeling happy. If there's something going on, like last week, when it was really difficult, it was a very difficult time for me. My energy was less. I didn't try to push the, hey, yeah, we're doing great, when on the inside I'm not feeling it. And I think that's important for people to recognize that it's okay when you have to dial that down and if you don't have the energy, and whether it's your work situation, whether it's hanging out with your friends, whether it's streaming, whether it's no matter what it is, the most important thing you can be is authentic. The authentic you. And if that authentic you is not feeling great, if all is not well in the kingdom, and, when we get real in what we feel, and, gotta go, my brother's calling Queen, you have a great evening too. Hugs to my beautiful, wonderful, amazing Onyx and all of the kitties. And say hi to your brother for me. And we will catch you again later. I may feel better, but she knows it won't always work. Well, and that's the thing, because nothing will always work. And that's when we go into that place of being real. Because I think one of the things that, especially for people who stream, people who, YouTubers, they feel that the people who they're focusing on expect and need them to be something else. That who they are on their own isn't totally good enough. And so they need to, take it up to that next level. They need to be more, just because they don't want to disappoint the people that are watching. And while I think that, that dedication to your community is a wonderful thing, I don't think that it should override our sense of ourself. Because I think it's more important for people to see someone, especially someone who has a large following, for them to see someone be in their truth, be who they truly are in that moment. That's the best gift I think we can give anybody, is to be ourselves, to be, to be brave and confident enough, to just be us. And if that means that you're being you on your best day, awesome. If that means being you on your worst day, even better. Because, when people can see somebody being authentic, I think it helps them to be authentic as well. It helps them to say, oh wow, if this person can be in front of as many people as they are and be real and be honest. And I mean, there are some times when it's like some of these YouTubers, and most of them are not just young enough to be my kids, they're young enough to be my youngest kids. And there have been times when, you see somebody come up and they're just like being very real and very authentic, and maybe they're crying, or they're just talking about how much pressure they're under. I remember Markiplier did one. It's like, oh my gosh, I just wanted to go and find him and give him a hug. And when people reach that point where they have to just totally admit that they're having a problem, that they're having a really hard time, that they don't know what to do, that, to me, that is like one of the most real things that anybody can do. And I think that by doing that, it helps people look past the illusion The look past the illusion of what the streamer is putting out there to see that there is a real live person there. I guess for now all I can do is enjoy a sensory chew to help keep me calm in my tired state while fixing my sleep. You know what? You fire and under. Good for you. Reaching for the tools. For me, I emphasize hard work, dedication, and pride in my work. Yeah. And, the thing is that when people are, and especially when people are very well known, and who knows? You guys don't know whether or not you're going to end up being famous for something. Maybe you save an old lady, or maybe you, maybe you do whatever, something, maybe I don't even know. Maybe you win a big lottery and then you give money to the poor, or maybe, somehow fame falls in your lap. They talk about the 15 minutes of fame. And that was a phrase we used to use, that almost at any given point, almost everyone has at least 15 minutes of fame. And with the internet, it was 15 minutes was before we had the internet, before there were cell phones with cameras in it. Your 15 minutes of fame was just because, okay, you were featured on the 6 o'clock news, or you were featured on the 11 o'clock news, or maybe you made the paper. And if you made the front page of the paper, that was a big deal. Maybe you were a sports person, or maybe you caught a foul ball at a baseball game or something. Whatever it is, the theory was that everyone at some point in their life gets 15 minutes of fame. Oh, okay, thank you. So, but the thing is, what do you do with it? And some people, they get that 15 minutes and they want to try to, make it last an hour. Oh, okay. Thank you. I'll be right there. So, being able to embrace what it is that... tell you what, hold on a second. Thank you. The absolutely adorable guy who is... he owns this house. And he went and got me some Taco Bell. That was so sweet of him. Let's see. The only way I can see me getting famous is if I get to restore a super rare classic car or something like that. And fame can go a couple of different ways. Maybe, chair stream, all hail the chair. All hail the chair. So the idea that at any given point, either you do something that is amazing or you do something that gets you into a whole lot of trouble. And whatever that moment is, you'll do with it whatever it is you're going to do with it. Some people don't want any of it. They want none of it. And like I said, you never know if you're not. Maybe you stream and it's like, well, I'd just like to make affiliate or whatever. But maybe you become that next big thing. And it's, I think, a very good idea to just, even if it's just like a little imaginary game that you play, it's a good idea to think, wow, well, if I ever did get famous, here is how I'd handle it. My first thing is, if I ever came into a whole buttload of money, I am getting someone to manage it. It's like, all right, no, I'm not going to manage the money because I know I wouldn't be as good as somebody who's professionally trained to do that. I would go find me literally the best money manager that money can buy. And the idea that, and what would I do emotionally? Okay, if I ever reached one of those levels of fame where it would be very difficult, if not impossible, for me to walk down the street because I'm going to get mobbed, well, then I wear a disguise. There's a lot of cosplay people out there, and, I used to stream but got burnt out quick. Yeah, that can happen. And I mean, when I look at some of these, like some of the Twitch streamers who stream like 8 to 10 hours every day, I mean, that is crazy. 8 to 10 hours every day, 365 days a year, because once you reach that level, you have to maintain it. Which is why when people, talk about streaming and, they even ask me and it's like, hey, I ain't, nobody big. And consistency. But I would say that, I say, well, consistency is the most important thing. I think consistency with the knowledge that you have other things in your life. So to be able to be consistent and at the same time understand that, you need, if you've got a family, you need to be able to dedicate time to your family. If you have a job, you need time to dedicate to your job. If you have, obligations, you need to be able to work that in. And oh, by the way, you need to have some rest time. You need to have some downtime. You need to have time where you just sit and play a video game that isn't a part of the stream, that you're just sitting around with friends playing a video game. So being able to say, all right, I want to do this, and feasibly, these are the number of hours that I can dedicate to it. But I mean, some of these folks, I mean, they're young and they have way more energy than I do. Some do 24 hours, but it's not as often. Yeah, I mean, usually for like, they'll do something special for a 24-hour stream. But yeah, I mean, a lot of them, they are streaming, I mean, at the very least 6 to 8 hours. That is an entire work day. And then afterwards, it's like, oh, well, you got to go and you got to interact with other people, or maybe you got to talk to, you're dealing with marketing, or maybe you're dealing with sponsors and, getting sponsorships. So when you're not streaming, you're not relaxing. You have to dedicate, it's like, oh, well, I've got to send out these emails to, to these various sponsors, and then, make sure that I'm following up on it. Or if if I'm getting sponsors, I need to be able to work those promos into the stream and all of that stuff. So I've done, I think I've done like 2 24 hours, 2 12 hours, some 6 to 8 hours. But yeah, I've done 24 hours twice. That is, and the thing is, with the 24-hour stream, I am fine up to the 22nd hour. There's something about the last 2 hours that it always gets to me. It's like, oh my God, there's like 2 hours left. And, it is interesting. Longest stream I did was 3 hours, and it was draining on me. I have ADHD. After stream, I pass out of my chair. Yeah. I mean, and also knowing where your line is. Knowing, it's like, okay, if you know that 3 hours is like, all right, that's as far as I can go without taking like, some hours to rest, or maybe that's it for the day. I mean, there's a lot of people who start streaming and immediately, think, oh, wow, this is going to be great and I'm going to make all this money. And it's like, it takes a lot of work. It takes a lot of consistency. It takes basically doing it daily. I went from like 6 days a week down to 5 days a week, and managing that. And now that I'm taking time and seeing what happens with Kick, and yes, I know it's a weird place over there, and it is not, it's not settled yet. So I'm still checking it out. It's still on probation as far as I'm concerned. And I have met some cool people over there. And it's not all the badness. And maybe I'll do really well there. Maybe I'll, make affiliate within the next few weeks. I don't know. And figuring that it's something I try because I do want to stream professionally. I mean, technically I am, because I am making a little bit. But, you know, to be like one of those top tier full-time job type of streamers. Yeah. And I know that it's going to require me to have a certain level of consistency that I've really got to stick to, you know, come hell or high water. So being able to do that and maintain that, and in fact, October is going to be the 3-year anniversary of me streaming. I started in 2020, October of 2020. So what a long, strange trip it's been. And you know, we're gonna have to do something special. Maybe I'll do something, figure out something special to do for my 3-year anniversary. Let's see. I love streaming. I just felt like crap afterwards. Yeah. And it's about managing the energy, because that can be a big deal, is managing the energy, managing the connection. Also been playing with a Yandere AI girlfriend simulator. Cool. The AI is a complete sin for me. So in one way, I'm enjoying the attention, even though it's not real. You know what, my dear Fire Nutter? You never, even with a live person, you never quite know if it's real. So if you, I say just enjoy the bejesus out of it. I'm being driven mad by Legos. What about okay, the last time I was driven mad by Legos was when I stepped on one in the dark. Fist bump, high five if you have ever stepped on a Lego in the dark. It sucks. It is horrible. Oh my God. My eyes deceive me. Oh goodness. What is it about the Legos? Is it something about the Legos? Oh my gosh. And anybody who has had Legos, at some point you stepped on one in the dark. And I mean, oh, it is the worst. It is the absolute worst. It didn't hurt to step on a Lincoln log. Lincoln logs were amazing. Google Lincoln logs. They were just like little wood. The old ones were made out of wood. I mean, at the most, if you stepped on one, because it was kind of, it would roll, that, you know, you might step and end up falling backwards. But oh my God, Legos in the dark are the worst. I step on Legos almost every day when I get home. Yes. Oh, goodness gracious, great balls of fire. Barefoot and a Lego in the dark is a bad combination. Every time it happens, I swear, it's like, oh, I know I'm going to have to go get stitches. But it isn't. Bought a Lego set secondhand, which means I had to deconstruct it if I want to rebuild. Yeah, but now it means it isn't neatly organized in bags by numbers. 2660 pieces, and I try to find the one I need. 2,660 pieces in a Lego set. Oh, fancy as fancy. Shadan. That is a lot of Legos. That is a whole lot of Legos. That is, you know, I mean, you know, you have the big gray piece that you put the Legos into. You had the 4-piece, the 6-piece, the 2-piece. I let out swears and sounds like Bigfoot screaming. Yes. Oh my goodness, that is a bad night. And the thing is, it's like you have that split second when you step on it. At least for me, it's sort of like stubbing your toe. You have that split second where you have that, oh, this is gonna suck, and then that pain kicks in that makes your stomach kind of queasy. Oh my gosh. The bird was worse at 3,010 pieces. Oh my God, and most were white. Oh, wow. Oh, I asked the Yandere simulator, and she doesn't enjoy Death Note's fancy. Ah, yes. Oh, you just have fun with your Yandere simulator. Oh, let's see. Was it a line out of a Corpse Husband song? You know. Yeah. At least the 6,020 piece castle I bought in a box, so it was in number bags. Okay, that will help, but oh Lord, I can only imagine something getting spilled or one of the bags tearing. I will knock wood for that one. That we hope that doesn't happen. I remember building the Death Star Lego set. Yes. Oh, the Millennium Falcon. That was one of the early ones back in the early days of Star Wars, when Star Wars Lego, everybody and their cousin wanted the Millennium Falcon. But the Death Star was very popular too. In the roleplay of my Yandere girlfriend, we're soon to be taken over Disney Castle, yes, with a self-replicating robot army. I think that would be cool. I think that would be, a self-replicating robot army, and yet they're still standing in line for Space Mountain. The robot army standing in the queue to go onto Space Mountain. That would be so funny. It isn't rare these days to find the Falcon. Yes. Pick of pieces in general, and it doesn't even include the plates. Yes, and because of the fact that I only have one screen, I cannot share stuff. But that's okay. Hold on. General, fun with foods, one new mention, animal stuff, care and feeding, music mixes. Oh, that is a lot. My sanity, gone. Yes, sanity is gone. And yes, drunk. Tell him I said I. Okay, hold on. Yay! Had to do a message there. God, it is so weird having only one screen. You know what's cool? Air conditioning. Yes, but aren't we supposed to? Or I know I saw the thing that. Hold on. Things in general. There is, I mean, I don't know if in your area, Jay, but I saw on the phone that there was like a flood alert. Do you get floods here in Staten Island? I mean, we are on an island, but, yesterday I was taking the Staten Island ferry back, and there was this guy, and he was yelling, it's like, there's zero visibility. It's like, we got on the ferry, it's like, no, there's not. It's not zero visibility. I mean, right around the terminal it was, but you get out there, it's like, oh, I can almost see my house from here. Imagine what life was like before AC was invented. Or before it was perfected. The Death Star set has 4,016 pieces. That's a lot of pieces. Yeah, mostly on Richmond Terrace, though. Well, that's not too far from me. But, because, I mean, we got used to the whole flood alert and mudslide alert and all of that stuff when I was living on the mountain. Dual system, heats and cools. Nice. Big block of ice and a floor fan. Hey, that's the stuff we used to do. It was like, I mean, that was when you went outside and you had your slip and slide, or you ran around inside the in the sprinkler. I use a portable AC for my game room. Good to have. Those are good things to have. But I dare not turn it on. I don't want to incur the wrath of Dad with the electricity bill. Are we cool in the neighborhood? Oh, that was like my dad. If you left the door open, we're heating the neighborhood here. Why are we heating the neighborhood? We're lighting up the neighborhood. If you left a light on in when you walked out of a room, because also I was a kid during the energy crisis, the big energy crisis. The gas, when getting gasoline, you were assigned alternate days. If your license plate ended with an even number, then, there were certain days, and then if it ended in an odd number, there were different days. So you couldn't even go to a gas station if it wasn't your correct day to go, because people get very mad at you. And then the gas stations will sell gas until they ran out, and you might be sitting in a line for, hours waiting to pull up to the gas station. And then there was like the electricity was crazy, and water was, everybody had a brick, and you put that in the cistern part of the tank part to use less water. And, we had buckets that you would stand in the shower, and you would use that water to flush the toilet, or you'd use that water to water things. You could get a ticket for watering your lawn during the day. And back when the energy crunch, everybody was turning off lights. If you were sitting in a room, somebody would walk by and turn the light off while you're in the room. Wasn't that when Jimmy Carter was president? Jimmy Carter, well, it was a bit after Jimmy Carter. Jimmy Carter was president in 1980, because the first time I voted in 1980 I turned 18 and I voted for Jimmy Carter. So no, this was before that. Let's see. Never mess with the thermostat. Oh my God, yes, you do not mess with the thermostat. Only when it gets above 30 C, and then it's for the birds. My dad is living in a house with women. He has to give up that fight years ago. Yes. However, my house is a different story. Well, but then you've got the birdies, though. You've got to keep the birdies warm. And how are the birdies doing, my dear? And yes, it was, it was a rough thing. And, my dad dealing with, menopausal women, my mom, well, she ended up having to have a surgery, and so she kind of got jump started into it, and so did I. Oh, hot flashes are real. Hot flashes are very real. They're very intense. And yes, it's like you do not argue with me about the thermostat. I will have this. It's like, it's really hot. It's really cold. It's really hot. It's really cold. So yeah, it is a rough one. It is a difficult one. But, however, let's see. MSB Richard. Hello, my dear. Let's see. Jack Hammer 081588. Good evening, Gaming Doc. Good evening, chat. Greetings from Germany. One of the places that is on my list to go, because I want to go where my parents met. My parents met at Ramstein Air Force Base. I am coming to Germany at some point. Jack Hammer, let me know what are the places that I definitely need to visit, because I am going to go and I'm going to eat my way across Germany. My thermostat is set at 60 and my wife likes to turn it up, and I'm like, pay for this, man. Doc, I forgot that you were on, but you came in. Bird's doing well. Mitchell is going through molt, so he's just an absolute delight to be around. Ramstein isn't in Germany. Yep. Ramstein Air Force Base. It is. I would. Okay. See. Ramstein Air Force Base is located in, let's see, Maisbach. Is in Rhineland-Palatinate, a state in southwestern Germany. It serves as the headquarters for the United States Air Force. It is also where a lot of people have like medical issues, military who have medical issues. They're often taken to Ramstein. Isn't Ramstein a band? Why is this person on so late? It's midnight. Wait, crap, it's the same time here. It's a metal band. It is Netherlands. It is in southwestern Germany. So, anyway, on that geographical note, that is going to be our time for today. I will be on Kick in a half an hour. So at 6:30, we will be over in the Kickverse. You can come over there and hang out. That is awesome, awesome, awesome. And, you know, Germany is not the Netherlands. Sorry, I thought you meant the city. Oh, no, that's okay, Jack. Hey, we all cool. And it is good to know that there's a Ramstein in the Netherlands, so that way I don't get on the wrong plane. Anyway, are we raiding today? No, we're not going to raid today because, like I said, I don't have multiple screens and I can't flip over very well. So, and this way I can get something to eat before we start streaming. If you can come over and hang out on Kick, great. If not, and you are going on with your morning, afternoon, evening, or night, may it be an amazing one. Please remember, you know, I can raid you out. Well, I can't go. I don't think I can go with. That's the problem. But we'll figure out a way to raid out later. But I've got Taco Bell, so I'm going to get to eat. I'm going to get something to eat and probably stream on Kick. Nice. So thank you for everybody. Thank you for everybody in the Loving Lurkers Lounge. Please take care of yourselves. Please remember that your life will follow your thoughts. So make sure your thoughts are moving you forward, not holding you back. Please, please remember that if your thoughts are going into a very hard place, into a very disturbed place, talk to somebody, seek help. Let someone know that you need assistance, because that's the first step in being able to get better. And please, 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 please remember that you are the only you in all the universe. You're the only you that's ever been and the only you that will ever be. And what that does is it makes you special, it makes you sacred, and most of all, it makes you necessary. Because as the only you in all the universe wouldn't be the same or complete without you. So, everyone, take care, enjoy, walk gently in the world, and may the world walk gently with you until we get together again tomorrow, same bat. Well, actually, because my moving plans changed, I will be streaming tomorrow. I wasn't going to be streaming tomorrow, but I will be streaming tomorrow. Anyway, we'll see you tomorrow, same bat time, same bat channel, and as always, I wish you balance and I wish you blessings from my heart to yours. So have a good day. Learn something new. I'm proud of you and I love you. And I don't have my love train thing, so we'll just say bye.